people do like watermelons, but now it has become a racist joke to start talking bad about the group and the race. But then George Washington Carver used it as a compliment and said, yes, it may be good for a dessert if you want some, but we have learned that we can always eat other foods like peanuts. The recent war have taught us.
Hello guys! Hi! Welcome to our channel. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about George Washington Carver, one of the great scientists which revolutionized our world. So, the media have projected this image onto you that Africa and Africans did not make anything or do anything to help the world civilize and also to upgrade the world.
But the case is reversed. The first civilization happened in Africa, and the first development and learning happened in Africa.
Most of these Greek scientists that you hear nowadays, they took some time to study in places like maybe Egypt or Timbuktu. So, all these things you have been hearing, that Africans did not make this, Africans did not even help anything,
they did not make this, they did not make that.
So, all those are lies, and we're here to spread the light on the path so you really know what happened.
So, let's continue with our topic. Who was George Washington Carver?
So, George Washington Carver was born in 1861 in Diamond, Missouri, as a slave boy.
So, as a slave, it is pretty hard to live. But for little George, it was about to end the Confederate War. But one day, there was these people called slave robbers that stole his mother and his sister and baby George. The owner could only get back baby George, but his mother and sister were never heard from again.
So baby George had to be raised by Susan and Moses Carver. Both of them raised him as their own. That's why he has the name Carver. So he grew up to love plants, and he even had his own secret garden in the forest, which he will observe how his plants grow to learn more about plants.
So, as he was doing all that and also helping Aunt Susie with the small chores, because he was a very sickly boy and he can't do most of the very hard chores,
well, like his brother could.
So he was doing the small chores, and when he had time, he would discover the plants and do all that stuff in his small garden. So by the meantime, the new parents of Carver were looking for a school for him, because even though the Civil War ended, there was still segregation around in many schools. So it was pretty hard finding one school for a black child.
So most of the time when he wanted to enter inside the school, they said, "Oh, you're black, sorry, you can't enter, that's the rules." So it kept happening over and over again. One day he finally got to school, and he had to walk all the way. It was so far away from his house. When he finally reached there, the school has already ended. So he had to rest in a barn close to the school.
And then the next day when he woke up and came away from there, they found that he was a black person. Hey, you're black, you can come here. Go to another school, learn somewhere else. Because segregation, as I said, there was still segregation through America. So when they finally found a school in Kansas that finally allowed him and knew he was black, among the schools that allowed black children, he started his education there and then finally graduated from that school.
And then entered Iowa State University and then finally started teaching there. Then soon after Tuskegee Institute.
So he was a very good teacher in both schools, Iowa State University and Tuskegee Institute. And in Tuskegee Institute, as he's known for his lab, he didn't actually have his lab. He was asking the children to look for stuff around Tuskegee and say, we are going to make our own laboratory. Soon that laboratory will become where he tests all the plants that he finds to find a formula to cure the soil of the south, because in Georgia and the other southern states and in Alabama where Tuskegee is, there was this problem that the soil, because of planting too much cotton, have been losing nutrients. And too much cotton was taking all the nutrients away. So he found this way that peanuts would, planting one day peanuts and then the other day cotton, will give back the nutrients to the soil.
So it just left so much peanuts and also soybeans and sweet potatoes remaining. And sometimes people won't buy those from the farmer. So what shall we do with these? Says the farmers. And he found many ways to use all these different foods. Instead of eating them, he found like shampoo. He also found medicines. Spoiler alert, people think that he made peanut butter, but those were made by the ancient Aztecs and the Incans.
So, but he just brought it into the market again and improved it. And he also made shampoo out of peanuts. He made candy out of soybeans and peanuts, and gasoline out of soybeans, sweet potatoes, and peanuts, and many others like peanut milk and peanut butter. Peanut butter was like his improvement. And also the final one that might sound impossible to you but he made was peanut butter medicine.
And also paper
and paint and molasses. So now that he found out other ways instead of just eating, now there will be many ways to just use that peanut. And that's why the farmer and the American industry could now sell peanuts without like having the problem of what can these peanuts do?
So after all his adventures in the South, he finally had to enter the American consul, which he took a bag of all the things that he made from peanuts and talked about peanuts to them and show how it could click and make, if we only could have known how to use these two crops, which he's talking about peanuts and sweet potato, he could use them, that they were very good to nourish the soil and all those things that he was studying. And then one of them said, why not you put a watermelon with that? At that time, and still today, there was a very racist joke which said that black people love watermelons.
Yes, black people do like watermelons, but now it has become a racist joke to start talking bad about the group and the race. But then George Washington Carver used it as a compliment and said, yes, it may be good for a dessert if you want some, but we have learned that we can always eat other foods like peanuts. The recent war have taught us. He was talking about the Civil War.
So also he talked about how sweet potatoes and peanuts just make this complete form of diet that if we only clicked this thing, we didn't know how these two crops could do and dazzled them with what he had been learning.
And everybody was wowed to the fact that he did not even, like all the rest of them who know that it's a racist joke. He knew it was a racist joke, but now took it for his own opinion.
So, and then after he left the Congress, he continued the rest of his life studying Tuskegee Institute.
He was so loved and was known all around America that he met 3 presidents of America.
3 U.S. presidents, which are Teddy Roosevelt,
Calvin Cooper, and John F. Kennedy.
So he also had many master degrees in Tuskegee Institute and many other institutes. And he also had many monuments on his name. He was the first Black American at his time to have a monument named after them, and also the first person at his time to ever have a monument that is not after his name, that is not a president.
So it meant he was that everybody cared about him. And when he died in 1943, the people of America lost a great man, but he will be never forgotten. On January 5th, Tuskegee Institute, 1943.
Alabama. May his soul rest in peace.
And now for the fun facts about George Washington Carver.
When he was small, they used to call him the plant doctor because he was so good at learning many things in plants. So if a plant died, he could revive it.
Did you know he was just called George Carver, but there was another George Carver in his town, so he added Washington to his name.
Another thing, he also got many national degrees, and also he made many inventions without having to get any money for it. He only did that for humanity, according to him.
Did you know Albert Einstein almost bribed George Washington Carver $1,000 million just to work with him in his office in New Jersey? But George Washington Carver refused.
Did you know that George Washington Carver is nicknamed the Wizard of Tuskegee?
Did you know now the recent days of Tuskegee Institute, Tuskegee is no more called an institute but a university. And thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you liked it. Please like and subscribe and ring the notification bell to watch more of our videos. And
bye guys, and have a happy day.